Assalamu alaikum. This is Zafar Abundance Wala, and you are watching Abundance Show on Global Abundance Organization Television. And you can find us on abundancewala.com. Here is Monica Nunes. Monica, please introduce yourself.
So I'm Monica. I have a PhD in sustainable food systems, and I want to talk a little bit about what sustainability is for me, how was my journey to this. So sustainability is not only about the environment, it's about people, dignity, systems that allow communities to thrive with autonomy, I guess. In my journey, moved from social science to data today, and I want to change reality. And for that, we must be able to read systems, and data helps us see what's invisible. I have done some work, self-development work, like 20 years ago. That was about abundance and also a little bit of how to attract it. And it is more about feeling than it is about cognitive looking for it. So that's too open.
Okay, Monica, you wear a lot of hats. I mean, you're a teacher, you're a scholar, you've got responsibility as parent too. So how do you manage? I mean, this is 25 hours, 24 hours or 24 hours. I mean, how do you manage all this?
And everybody only have those. So I'm going to open with that. If everybody only have 24 hours, I don't try to balance it, my roles, because I don't think it is possible. So I try to integrate them. I think like being a mother taught me empathy, teaching taught me about communication, research taught me how to explore my curiosity, and data taught me clarity. And these things feed on each other. So instead of dividing my life and try to build, I try to like build systems where these roles kind of strengthen each other. But I want to also leave it that I don't agree with this division of roles that people sometimes say, don't bring your personal life to work. I am a whole person. So my personal self is always present in my professional self. So I also want to acknowledge that I'm not a superwoman. A lot of the times there is like this expectation for women that do so much, they pursue so much, that we are putting in this condition that we are super women. And I don't like that because it's not really fair. And many times I felt the weight of juggling these roles. And sometimes I drop one and I feel guilty, like when my family needs more, when I miss the deadline because I had to take care of it or take care of my own health. And I think many women leave this silently. So as a woman, the guilt for wanting abundance is real. For me, it was real in my journey, and it is real now. And many times I had to question myself, am I asking for too much? Because like I'm trying to grow, I'm trying to build, I'm trying to care, I'm trying to contribute. And in these, sometimes in these hard moments, I am glad that I had a support network, like especially like my women's sisterhood, my close friends, and now I have a supportive partner. These things are important. They held like space for me when I felt heavy. They remind me of who I am when I feel tired, when I doubt myself, when I stretch too thin, which is pretty often. And I truly believe resilience is never an individual effort, it's collective. And if you go in it alone, it's really, really hard, especially for women. So that's my take in that.
Wow, I mean, the support system, as you said, I mean, that helps a lot. And you've been through. I mean, everybody goes through a lot of stuff. As you were also a student studying, then you got kids, and you got a lot of responsibilities too. And then you were exposed to a lot of issues, and you've been traveling the world. Okay, keeping that in mind, I mean, you've got your own formula of IQ and endurance. What's that?
I think in my research role and also like pursuing a PhD, it was not much a test of intelligence. It was more a test of endurance. And I feel like a lot of intelligent people quit these kind of a PhD, for instance, because it's not because they lack capacity, but because the journey is long, it's also uncertain, and it can be isolating. It's a project of passion, and it's very specific. So you end up tending to isolate, and I think that's the mistake actually. The other thing that was also very important for me in my journey as a researcher is navigating the politics and power dynamics in academia. It was a whole new challenge, and I didn't know it was on my to-do list when I got into the PhD. So, but it is very important that you acknowledge and understand this environment. And what kept me going was purpose, and knowing that I wasn't doing this for a title. I was very passionate about the invisible communities, and especially the vulnerable rural women that I was focused and working with. So for me, it was also myself as a woman breaking the walls from within, and that kept me going, because sometimes purpose creates energy when motivation disappears. And in my research journey, it often did disappear. So
That's amazing. The purpose creates energy, whereas motivation is like kind of seasonal stuff. This comes and go. And in your case, what was your purpose? I mean,
my purpose, like I said, it was like I was very passionate. I'm from the northeast of Brazil, and there is where the desertification area is, and there is a lot of lack of infrastructure in the rural communities. My father was a son of a farmer worker, not a landowner, but a farmer worker. So he came out of poverty, and I thankfully grew up with a lot of care, because he made himself something, as my father, I already had that. So this disconnect between, like, a farmer, my father experienced hunger, and he was a son of a farmer. For me, this disconnect was very important. It made me understand a lot of about this distance between producing the people that produce our food, and why there are so much dissonance on their reality. So this creates a passion. I'm passionate for a social solidarity economy. That is part of what gave me the direction, yes, to study and to give voice to these people. But in my research, not only they were farmers, but women farmers, and I want to give them a voice, which also gave me voice as a woman too.
amazing. Monica, being a daughter of a working farmer, not a landowner, and its whole picture of scarcity, the scarcity of resources, scarcity of the people around, and their mindset also. This is such a story of success that you are a doctor. I mean, you've done your PhD and you've traveled the world quite a lot. So, what helped you to get from scarcity to abundance mindset? You were talking about some workshop on abundance. Would you like to enlighten the audience about that, and so that we can also learn from your experience?
Yes, I live in Florida, and I did a work called Journey. There are three parts of this work: Journey, the Alps, and leadership. And this opened a door for like a Pandora box of things that I was. It was new to me, but it was also it made a lot of sense. It was in the beginning of when people started talking about the law of attraction, but it was more a long 3 months workshop of connection and connecting with people that were doing this training. So it is a lot about being like the translation of in practice for me is a lot about feelings, not just wanting and wishful thinking, but like feeling. And the best way to feel abundance is to be grateful, and that's like the main knowledge and teaching that I got. And translating into my way of seeing the world, I think like abundance and wealth in this the conventional economy is more related to wealth and accumulation. And for me, it's more connected to solidarity economics. So wealth becomes resilience, becomes having strong relationships. And for me also, food security is very important, and sharing knowledge and collective capacity to respond to crisis. So you have to have a community behind you. So wealth is community wealth for me. And this is very connected to my concept of abundance. It's like when everyone is visible and survival does not depend on exploitation. So having these as my base also guides me. Although I want to just make a little reflection about resilience, because it's more and more becoming a little bit of problematic concept, because we are in a system that resilience is an obligation. You are obliged to be resilient for survival, and no one should need to be this resilient to survive. So we also need to work on making systematic changes, not only to ourselves, but try to influence the systems that we are inserted in. So
Yeah, I also work on abundance just because the scarcity is all around, just because we think scarce. We all grew up with a mindset that things gonna diminish, finish, and whereas I mean the globe do have the capacity to host 70 billion people on it, whereas I mean only 8 billion people are there. The uneven wealth distribution is causing lots of scarcity for a lot of people, and abundance for certain a very smaller minority. Looking at your life, you've been resilient, and you have converted. You talk about the civic solidarity that as wealth. What's this concept?
of community wealth.
The
I
question is, how does social security economic redefine the concept of wealth at the community level?
It's when you make sure that people are visible, and that you are connected, integrated, and they don't depend on exploitation. It's kind of a little bit of a utopian today, utopian view today, because of how busy people are disconnecting and being very individualistic. But I feel like it is necessary to, utopia is a little bit necessary for direction and as a compass. But it's like it's just giving systems that allow strong relationships, share knowledge, and to know what is your support system in case of that you need to respond to crisis. I think that's basically what social and solidarity economics will bring to wealth.
Okay, my next question is, why are women's self-organization and womanism critical for building resilient food systems and achieving multiple SDGs?
I think womanism it's a feminism, but because feminism it's a picture in cities. It's a urban human rights based, and womanism is more into the women that are not. They have different problems. The women in the rural areas or in diverse environments, Black women and other racial profiles, they don't in rural areas, they don't have the same problems as urban women. So that's why womanism, I explored this in not feminism in my research. And it's because these women are they are hidden infrastructure of food systems. They manage seeds, they do food preservation, they take care of the nutrition of the family and their communities. They run informal markets, and they provide family stability. But this is hidden. There is nobody really value this, neither monetarily or otherwise. And my research showed that women they self-organize and they strengthen their communities, and they become more resilient as a community, not only themselves. And it's not only economically, but socially and environmentally too. So what I mean by that is that you cannot solve climate or hunger or scarcity in any way without really challenging and changing these gender dynamics, because the SDGs are all interconnected as everything else, So you can, there has to be systemic changes, and the SDG already have that as it's acknowledged, So it's just the repetition of we cannot do it without challenging this.
We can't do it without challenging this. Sure, yes. Through the Seasons Jar project, what practical steps can urban communities take towards year-round local consumption?
So Season Jar project explored food literacy as a foundation of food sovereignty and nutrition. We usually don't give enough attention to food literacy. What is to know your food and needs in terms of food, it goes like, because we have a relationship now, especially the younger generations to food. There is the connection is in a supermarket. You have like these already packaged food, and that's the connection you have. You don't have seasonality. You don't have the origin. What is this food comes from? And we are reclaiming a little bit of this now, but still, this food literacy as a foundation of food sovereignty and nutrition, it's not very new. So Season Jars was a project that explored that, and it was about reclaiming this knowledge through intergenerational learning, which like we had put together university students in Montreal with the community around the university, which is in downtown Montreal. Concordia University. So, and we put these people together every 2 weeks to talk about food, to cook together, to exchange knowledge about nutrition and culture, because food is so interconnected with culture, and then we also started learning about the seasonality of food. So we reconnected urban communities with natural food cycles. We taught food preservation, like traditional methods like drying, fermenting, and storing. And the nutritional local food could be consumed year round through these methods. And it wasn't about nostalgia, like, oh, we want to know how it was done before. No, it was about resilience and improving nutrition, which was appointed as a problem within the student community. So,
From a global South perspective, how can systematic barriers in family farming, such as lack of credit and infrastructure, be addressed?
yes, family farming does not struggle because farmers lack knowledge, because there is a lot of romanticized ideas that it's because they wanted to stay with the pitchforks and not. It's not because of that. It's because of lack of credit, logistics, infrastructure, and access to fair markets. And there is also a very complex problem. So I cannot give you, there is many solutions, but they are always a mix of a 5 helices approach. It has to have support, financial support, which depends on public policies, also markets that are locally, because the public policies have to be more not nationwide, because it's a systemic support that needs to happen, but also local markets should be connected to the locality. For instance, with lunch school programs that do not just offer fruits that are industrialized in corn syrup to offer to kids. So it's a very complex problem, so it has to have complex solutions. It has to have local, federal, and community connected with infrastructure, with logistics, with credit access. So to bring this gap to a close, we need to policy, data, and local participation. And solutions should not be readily imported, or one size fits all. They must be co-created with communities. That doesn't mean that we don't learn with positive projects or policies that are done elsewhere, but they needed to be adapted and co-created with the communities that are going to be benefiting or help the community. So
That's cool. I mean, the solution should be indigenous and from the locals, just because you can't beat the local talent. Sure, yes. Again, now coming back to your academic background, you got an MBA degree in data science, whereas you've done your PhD in social studies. What's the motivation behind this shift?
well, data and also digital transformation are not separate from social science. First of all, they are tools to understand reality. And right now, they are also the language that is being used, because even qualitative human experiences, which is my background, can now be analyzed through AI, for instance. So it is a big help. And also, it's a gap that I noticed. If I want to continue and evolve in this role, I need data and digital transformation training. So today, power speaks data. And if we want social justice, environmental protection, sustainable food systems, we must translate human realities into evidence, because evidence become policies, and policies becomes impact. So it influences decisions at a scale. And for me, pursuing an MBA in sustainability is also it's sustainability data in digital transformation at Goethe. It's part of my natural evolution, not only as a researcher, but into a project management role. That's what I'm going through, because it allows me to connect knowledge, data, and implementation. Implementation is a big thing, because I want impact, turning ideas into structured impact is what I'm looking for with this new endeavor.
Yeah, great. I am 110% sure about the success you're gonna have. Okay, how can data analysis influence EU-funded projects and ensure real climate compliance?
I'm going to, again, repeat myself a little bit. I think data transforms projects into policies. With proper analysis, we can show that what works, what fails, and why it does. Improves, that could help improve climate compliance, guides funding. We are more and more looking for this way to measure impact. We keep evolving into that, because it's impact. It's hard to. It's a long time process. It's a systemic process. Climate, it's very complex, so it's hard to prove. So prove impact. So I think data does that. It helps with that. It guides funding. It prevents symbolic sustainability, and it creates more accountability. I think it's trustworthy. That's if used it right.
Okay, next question is, how do we move from greenwashing to measurable data-backed sustainability metrics?
Yes, that's what they're evolving to. Yes, it's the thing is sustainability must be measurable, and I think data now this new qualitative being able to be better analyzed with the help of AI makes it more measurable, makes sustainability more measurable, and we can maybe it's never going to be completely visualizable, if that's a word. But we need to make this connection about the indicators, for instance, of soil health or biodiversity, indicators of social inclusion. They are more complex, social inclusion needs a lot of complexity to be really make this sustainability real and measurable. So when we visualize these metrics, sustainability can become more transparent. And I'm talking about sustainability impact, not green labels, not just marketing, So I believe data can help decrease a little bit of the greenwashing. But I think as we live in this market society, it's never going to be gone, unfortunately. But we can make, with data, with more distribution of knowledge, we can make it less.
Okay, I'll take the unfair advantage of you being on my show. I would like to ask you about the circular economy. Please define for us in simple words. And then the question about is, what simple actions can individuals take to contribute to the circular economy?
I think is to choose something that speaks to you. Be curious, connect with your community, and think integration, because complex issues are always interdisciplinary, transdisciplinary, and even like a new approach is like the One Health approach. You need to integrate things, find small ways to apply what you learn and what you care about, because you need to care about what you're doing. It's about that motivation thing. Motivation sometimes disappears. So if you are connected, if you are passionate about what you're doing, if that speaks to you, it's easier to continue and protect, like, I don't know, protect your energy. For researchers to keep going, it's a marathon. Uh, it's it's not only about the prestige of continue with the publication, the numbers. It's about impact. So I would pick something that it's important to me.
Okay, thank you so much. How about the advice to the young ones who are entering your field?
About the things, like, if you are going to academia, know why you're doing it. Know why you're doing it, and because that will be a good purpose. That you have your purpose clear, because it's when it gets tough, that's what's gonna get you going. Academia, you need to understand, you need to look at your environment, look at the politics of it, and you need to learn how to navigate, because in practice, that's gonna help you or hinder your development in academia. Also be curious, pick something close to the heart, and do it for your purpose, not to prove to anyone that you can. And find partners, not only mentors, because it's not just that. It's not just learning how to do it. It's to find partners and network to get you going even after, because you get lost in these years that you have hyper focus on your little thing, and then that ends one day, and you need to find a new purpose. And if you already have partners in a way, that becomes easier. So do not overlook the importance of networking in academia, and finding partners for your projects, because they can be long-term partners.
Okay, the last question is three big challenges for you.
3 big challenges for me, I think, is personally transitioning into a research that is more impactful than based on prestigious publication. Or I want to go into a project management role, into smaller, more impactful local projects. That's one challenge. Becoming a little bit more boring, slow down a little, to have time to enjoy the view. It's because I'm always doing too much and wanting even more. So slow down and be grateful for what I have, and acknowledge who I am, and enjoy love, unconditional love. That's my projects.
That's cool. Thank you so much, Monica. Monica, can you give a message to the Blue Dot Earth and on sustainability, especially
Excuse me, I
to the
didn't.
Earth, to the President of the Earth, to the global citizens?
Okay. Feeding the future is not about producing more food. It's about building systems where communities, knowledge, and nature work together. And I hope that we have support to connect all these so we can meet human dignity and sustainability becomes possible.
Thank you so much, Monica. Thank you so much for being on my show. And very soon I'll be broadcasting you again. Be there. Don't go away. I'm just hitting this recording button off. And thank you so much being on my show.